sjsrana, Surinderjit Singh Rana, reporting for November 8th, 2021, time about 10 hours UTC. And I've got many various topics to discuss. So at 1000 hours UTC on November 8th, following is the report for Earth, planet Earth. You can see how India is shining from the space on the air pollution, which is ppm 2.5. And India is the only country seen in my view graph for November 8th, and I'm going to discuss this in detail later on. And this is the latest update on the article onewordpress.wordpress.com, which I've read on November 8th, about 9 hours UTC, 900 hours UTC. So various topics, basically more focused on the China developing into superpower and what it needs to have a minimum deterrence of nuclear. We're going to discuss how China is basically progressing forward with the development of the silos near the southern border of Mongolia or the north of Wuhan. And this is very important for China, obviously, because China feels threatened from many aspects, not even the neighbors, especially India is having a long waging war with China. But you see, US is always threatening China for some or the other reason. US is always trying to find some reason to somehow, contain China or somehow threaten it or somehow, undermine it. Because the progress of China is unilateral. And if you see China as a nation which doesn't have any of the negativities which US has been taken for granted for accusing other nations like Iran, Iraq in various, war games, even Syria, bombing Syria, terrorism. Many of the times it's like a counter of the contrabands or, drugs, mafia, whatever you call it. But China doesn't have any of those significance, folks. And if still US has some enmity with China, then God saves the world, because you never know what's going to happen if they wage a war, because China is some superpower which is there in making, you cannot threaten China for that reason. So quickly jumping on, basically the global war games will continue. As I predicted in my article, this is the time where a lot of aerial war defense or aerial war games will be seen, a lot of other aerial catastrophe will be seen, which I have been predicting all the way. And you can see all this happening across the globe. So recently, this is the view graph or clip of Chennai, India. And you can see in India, it's like roads turn into rivers, and, you see this train, local train, and it doesn't have a track, but it is as if it's like floating on the water. So everything is floating on the water. Folks, India is very callous in trying to put an approach or put a resolution on how to address the air pollution or the climate change catastrophic events. Because if you see, India on the air pollution is rated as one of the worst nations in the world. India has the largest number of cities which are the worst in air pollution. So according to UN and according to all climate reports. But India has not been able to address this issue. I mean, when it comes to air pollution, it quickly shovels things under the ground by shoving some water. So in a city, it'll do some water tankers, routine water showering. And for a day or two, because it has to do a showcasing, it will just trying to bring it down, and then everything will be fine from the space. But consistently, if you look at India, India has not addressed the air pollution problem. More than 2 million people die each year in India. Yes, it's 2 million. So, you're looking at big fatalities, but India is very callous. The government, I don't know what they're trying to achieve here, but they have to first address the air pollution. Okay, folks, quickly moving on to this very, very tragic incident which occurred in Houston. And you can see, how Travis Scott, a rapper, was performing, and how, the situation got out of control, chaos. Not only chaos, there was complete panic, and many deaths reported here. More than 8-9 people tragically died and many injured. And this was a very tragic event which occurred recently. And Travis Scott is trying to somehow come up with the answer, but actually there is no answer if you look at it. I mean, there are many ways he could have stopped. He could have used the PA system. Always when you have this advantage of messaging or mass gathering, you always have the advantage of PA, public address system, and they can always, broadcast a message or display some message, a warning sign on the display board that something is not going right, because they are the first one to observe they're having the high pedestal. Folks, this is very tragic, and my heart goes to the family, to innocent young people who died here. Very tragic incident, and let's hope and pray, offer prayer to these people who tragically lost it. Obviously, this incident could have been avoided, and we're going to look forward for other statements to see what actually happened.
When he was examined, he went unconscious. They administered Narcan. He was revived.
Live Nation, the concert promoter, reportedly did not use the PA system or video boards to broadcast any safety messages.
The number of marriages between South Korean and foreign nationals last year fell more than 18,500
which is going on. Look at this nation, South Korea, reporting
pandemic.
international marriages down by 35%, which is almost about, they have 9,000 marriages take place, which is international marriages. It could be intercaste, interreligious, whatnot, but they have come 35%. Basically, it's a warning, it's an indication that everybody is trying to take it a cautionary note that, you know, people don't want to basically intermingle with strangers, and because, you know, obviously marriage involves sexual contact and sexual interactions, and people should not be taking risk now. You never know what kind of diseases a person is carrying who is not healthy, maybe looking healthy from the upfront. But many of the pedophiles, predators who have multiple contacts with multiple females are the worst carrier of STD, sexually transmitted diseases, and a long COVID. I can tell you on that they have long COVID, because that's how this thing is developing, folks. The mutations every 14 days is having an impact. And you can see, you know, this is one aspect of having a marriage, which is a consensual sex, obviously. Most of the cases, except it's where it's marital rape. But I'm trying to address another issue, which is basically predators population attacking minor girls. Recently, this cops filed the charge sheet in the court with 19 predators, exceptional teamwork over a minor girl, enticing, enslaving, stalking, and trapping, and sexually battery over a minor girl. Imagine a minor girl under the COVID-19 period was still under a threat. Despite the lockdown, despite everything, these predators, Indian predators, have exceptional teamwork. The whole world knows this. The whole world has the knowledge of this, that the exceptional teamwork from Indian predators population is well known to everyone. They can do anything to obtain, sexually assault, stalk a female, or entrap, enslave, and have a sexual battery. They can do anything. They can become imposters, they can impersonate, they can play metaphor games with metaphor mafia. This is all the result of metaphor mafia. So if you look at the prognosis, this girl, it's a 500-page document, a historical document, 500-page document for a one girl who was assaulted by Indian 19 predators and more. So this is a historical case which has come up into the court, and we'll see what are the results. Now we see this is the pandemic which India is dealing with, the minor girl assaults. You see even the government jobs or government people, government officials are getting involved into this. Recently, this inspector was arrested for a rape, sexually assaulting a minor girl. Imagine inspector, you know, having a position at a cop, and it's a high respected position, and if they get involved into raping minor girls, then who's going to save people, who's going to save girls? That's the question which India government has to answer. But if they are too lousy, they will sleep over it as if it's a normal incident. The problem with this whole saga, I keep reporting, is the India massive females, which is 666 plus million. Yes, folks, it's 666 plus million. I'm repeating for the second time, million. It's not 1,000. Million is a big number, but 666 million is a massive number. This much of females never mass protest. I have lived from my career job from India to North America. I've worked in US for almost 7 years, from 2019 till 2007, and I've seen people there protesting for even a small incident, for others, not for their self alone, but for others. This is the value the US carries. You know, that's why I love people over there. They're very generous, they're very braveheart, they are very, very concerned for others. And that's the beauty of the US, the value. And I've seen them protesting. I've seen people across, you know, then I moved to Canada also for the work. And I see them also getting concerned. And you see the reports, Australia, you see the reports from UK, females, Mexico, Brazil, they all get connected and they all work for others. But in India, you know, females, maybe they're subdued because of the marital rapes since 1947. Per India government, they insist marital rapes are okay. Since 1947, they got independence from UK rule. Perhaps because they're subdued, their nature has become as a subdued, subvert to the male-dominated patriarchy, and they don't even have the guts to protest. I don't know what's going on, but there is something I find very strange here in India. I landed India in 2010 from North America, and I saw this going on. So my interaction with people around here is very limited, and to females, it's almost zero. Because I never understand them why they don't protest over sexual assaults and battery going across, why they don't do it. And that's the reason I don't interact with females at all, folks. For past 3 years, virtually I have had zero interaction with females. I mean, in a friendly manner, in a way which is more personal. Yes, you can say meeting for some cause, it's okay, like day 2 or 5 days or 10 days. But personal, zero, and not at all intimate, for many years. I avoid them because I can never understand them why they don't protest. And if they don't protest, that means they're a danger sign. That means they could simply come under some other predator who can pressurize them to do whatever they want them to do. And who knows, you will be implicated into a false case. So for almost 3-4 years, I've never interacted with any Indian female. Personally and intimately, I've always avoided that. That's the statement I'm giving for the first time on the internet, because I want to tell. I mean, I'm being a male, active male, but I fear because of this fact that if they have such subduction, they are so subvert. What will happen tomorrow if some predator takes over them in charge, blackmail them, or do something with them, and then they put you into an implication, into a false or fabricated case? Because I've gone through that incident. Not connected to the females which I know, but the females which I have known in past, they have implicated me in false fabricated cases, 2 of them, and they lost miserably into the Indian courts. Imagine the plight. These females put me into such a situation where I cannot even explain, and I have to go through the trauma. And there was a zero proof evidence of any wrongdoing. Not even a wrongdoing. There was not even iota of doubt even laid by the judges that what kind of charges these female put. This is what I say, folks. These human trafficking empires are very powerful in India. You can call the sexual predators. Once they get over a female, they can do anything with them, and they can do them anything they want. So you always avoid them. That's the best thing I have learned in India. After those incidents, fake fabricated cases, which were put me in 2015, 16, 17, and I got finally free in 2019. And I was very, you can say, relieved, because I was all under pressure that for doing nothing wrong, I have to go through such a rigmarole. So this is what's going on, folks. Now, I kept reporting in my last week back video. You can see I reported how the metaphor games are being played in India, a witchcraft. It's called Metaphor Games Mafia. Now I'm going to give you another clip which just occurred on November 8th, which is at about 13:34 hours IST, which is Indian Standard Time. And this is a strange phenomena here, that you can see a white car which is parked in front of my house gate, which is SAS Nagar Mohali, 1493 phase 3B2. And you can see this white car parked. I have no idea why this person is parking the car proximity or in front of my gate. I've got no clue, but this car was parked here. And you can see for no good reason, nobody's sitting there, nobody's coming out or in of the house or of the car. The car kept parked there. It seems to be like a taxi. Well, could be anything. It could be a cab. I don't care. But the thing is, you are parking a proximity to the house. This is one car which you see here. There's another car, a white car, which is in front of my gate. Again, I have no clue of that. I have not talked to that person who is parking it. Neither that person has come to me to say, can I park here? But that's how it happens here, folks. People take advantage of you because you being a saintly figure or very, very human rights activist. So this is what happens. You can see the gate is locked. Nobody's come out of the gate. This is my house, and you can see some ladies. Now you can see some females coming out of some other house, not this house, 1493, some other house they're coming, and they're just jumping into the car. Now they could be innocent, I don't know, they could be naive, maybe visiting first time. But the point here is, what I'm trying to make here is that why this car, and they are basically coming to another house where they have no interaction. And they're coming from some other house. Why can't they call the cab to that house? Who knows, they ordered the cab to my house, because the cab they would have ordered is their order. They could have even mentioned 1493 phase 3B2 SAS Nagar Mohali. But you see, my gates are locked, and I've seen this many times. I've seen this many times occurring in front of my house. Many cabs will come and ladies or females will come. My gate is locked. I'm never interacting. My CCTV is capturing all this. And I see, okay, why these ladies were dropping in front of my gate. And I have many such videos. And it's happening almost every second or third day. So this is very strange phenomena. You call it metaphor games, mafia, or you call it human trafficking empire, or you call it some imposters who are around my neighborhood. I know many imposters are over here impersonating even my identity and other things. A very shady business is going on with the metaphor mafia. I have explained this in my last video, but on a brief, a metaphor mafia or metaphor game in India is being played as a position or a place they select the human trafficking empire agents to basically traffic females or to basically seduce females, or tell them, no, everybody's playing this game over here in neighborhood, whereas nobody's doing it. Only the predators and the sexual pedophiles, they're playing this game, only they. And they have the code. They are basically having the knowledge of every other person around, because some of they are connected to people in offices and in officials, and they have the basically even surveillance on people, even on their cell phones. So this is how it's going. And the other thing is the witchcraft. Yes, folks, the witchcraft is very popular here. People are expert in witchcraft, especially the pedophiles. The sexual predators population here are expert in witchcraft. And they come to know things in advance, a day or two, because of the oracle they meet or they have hired, paying them some money. So, folks, in brief, this is the site I used to update. And I kept writing for almost 4 years, since 2010 till 2014. And it's before its news. You can see the hits, the visits people make on this site, and I've posted many articles here. Almost about 700 articles are there. It's in archives now, and this is before its news.com. After that, I moved on to other Twitter and other Google pages. But then I saw a lot of obfuscation going around, folks. I keep telling you there's obfuscation going on. Even on the Google search on my name, sjsrana, this is my call sign I use for last 10 years. Since even before that, I used to use the same sign because it's relating to my name, Surinderjit Singh Rana. It's a short brief of that. And you can see the Google even now have been trying to detour or trying to give an obfuscated results, If I search by my number, which is 896-810-7947, you see on all this information you get, but when you go to the images or other things, you will not get the straight results. It is all misleading results. This is the Google. And just 2-3 months back, I kept searching for almost many years. It was doing fine. But since 2 months, it has tried to give the wrong results. And some impersonator here or some stooges from India are playing this metaphor game or something they are doing here to befool world and the leaders in the community that, okay, no, this is not this. Whereas it's complete, not 100% facts. It is a complete lie, and it's like you call pathological liars working for this game. So this is metaphor game. In brief, what is a metaphor game? I tell you, it's a hidden place, a secret. You can say an action or something done by trafficked females who are to be trafficked, or you can say females who are pedophiles themselves, or sexual, you can say hyperactive females of India, because they are getting played into this game. Otherwise, they would not choose this witchcraft game, where they select a hidden thing, phenomena, site, or some action, and these pedophiles only know what they're playing. But these metaphor games are played for that reason. And once that happens, the human trafficking empire will traffic that female to that person. This is the basic theme which is working around. And it's all done in shade. It's a shady business, and it's done by shadow government, all funded by shadow government. And many say that world leaders are getting implicated in it, or they are complicit in this game, because it cannot be done like that, because many are supporting this activity. I don't know. I'm not going to comment on them, but I do say there is something going on which is totally demonic, which is totally pure evil, called metaphor games. And this is a demonic way of living. I have never played metaphor games. I never like it. I am totally opposing it, and I've already condemned it. Many forums, many sites, all these past videos, I've always condemned it. The metaphor games are demonic. Folks, this is demonic influence over your life to ensnare the masses into misbelieving or misled into something which is not real. And this is being done as a governmental witchcraft. You call it pedophile witchcraft, sexual predators witchcraft. It's a witchcraft. They consult oracles, they consult witchcraft, and they do witchcraft on people, and that's why the metaphor games are being played. So this is the front view of my house, which is front yard. From one of my cameras, see my front, and this morning, November 8th, 2021. You can see the dogs barking over here, and for some strange reason, the street dogs started barking because some strangers came here to the just, you can say, to proximity to my 4093 phase 3B2 SAS Nagar Mohali, and they were doing some metaphor things here. And God knows, because I came too late to notice this, because when the street dogs started barking, I was just getting, in commotion, like what's going on. So after came to know that there's some folks around, and I thought it's a regular fare, perhaps metaphor games, one, or they are just genuine people trying to assemble here to wait for someone. So I ignored it, floor, because I partially built. You cannot call a complete first floor. Over there, I was just busy, and then after 15 to saw the extent of things that was going on, and I'm going to narrate or briefly tell you what metaphor games are, which you're going to view from here. Just be patient to see what's going on. It's a long clip, but you will come to know a lot. So street dogs are barking, and these people, they're at. So you can see street dogs are still barking, and these guys who assembled here, at least 5 or 7 guys, they're having some camera in their hand, and they're trying to do something here, which is strange. Okay, till this point I wasn't aware that what's exactly going on, because I was busy. So I was not sure what's going on, and I was doing some recitation, I have on my first floor, and at that time I just saw the street dogs barking, and these guys standing here doing some weird thing. Okay, but then later on, when I realized and I saw what they were doing, actually they were even trespassing to my property. This is the corner house which I have, which you see the front yard, and on the side of this where they're standing, it's the side garden I have. You call it a kitchen garden, right? The kitchen garden I possess, it's almost like about 200 yards space, which is just adjacent to my property over here, to my house, next to my house. And this is the area zone where they're all standing. And what I came to know after like 20-30 minutes, because since I was busy, I had no idea. But then when I saw, I was in my terrace, and I was up there for just like a casual walk. But when I saw from my other side what they were actually doing, I was surprised and shocked. Then I had to even ask them that this is something illegal you're doing. You're not supposed to do what you're doing here now in the private property, which was my property. So folks, they were having a camera in their hand, you can see. They were basically waiting, you can see over here, for some time to see if the environment is clear, nobody is watching them, and they're going to do some metaphor game here. I suspect it's a metaphor game played at about, you can see, who is so crazy, at about 7 in the morning, about 7:15 or around that time, 30 time. So that time they were playing all this thing, and it is for November 8th, 2021. And you can see these people are just trying to make sure that nobody's watching them, what they're trying to do here. Who knows what the real intention is? But so they were doing some garb which was placed on a tree, and they were filming that. It's an independent gown. It's just a piece of cloth hanging on the tree, and they were filming it. Now, why they were filming it and what they were doing, obviously it's quite obvious. Perhaps some metaphor game, perhaps some deep fake. So they were running some deep fake technology, which is obviously the reason, because you would never do such thing and to a property next to someone who you have no talks or no idea with. So this is my house, and next to that, these guys you can see are all having a film shoot here, as if, on a private property. And this is happening openly, and these guys are watching carefully that who's watching them, who's not watching them. And you can also say a metaphor game mafia, perhaps they could be that also linked to that, where they're trying to play some metaphor games. Again, it's an indication here. I'm not saying they're doing it, but it could be. Because when you see at these things, it is not a very common thing or a normal thing. It is not a normal thing which you will see. These guys have no function. If they're doing something next to a house, which is a garden, a park next to a house belonging to that house, it's a private property. It's my property over here. And if they're doing such things, you can understand what's going on in their mind, what they're doing at the backside. So when I got up to the terrace, the first floor, and I saw them, and I basically asked them that this is a private property. They were basically, few of the guys, 2 or 3 guys were inside the garden of my garden, kitchen garden, and they were sitting there again doing these camera poses, and God knows what they were doing before, because I just saw them, and I said, you're not supposed to do this, you're in private property, you better come out of this and you go away, whatever. They say, no, it's a park. I say, it's not a park, it's a private property, and it's been allocated to 1493 phase 3B2 SAS Nagar Mohali, and I'm the owner. I'm telling you, you move away from here, and if you got to do something, the park is in front of you, which you are somehow being oblivious to. There's a big park, they're not doing anything over there, but they're especially doing near to my house, especially to the property. This is because I've seen it regularly occurring. I'm just trying to report now. I mean, I'm sick and tired of such metaphor games, if you so call it, or these incidents. I'm sick and tired, because this is every next day, the other day, they're doing certain things around the periphery of the house. You can call it a witchcraft, God knows. It could be a witchcraft also. They're trying to maybe, traffic a female. I don't know. I'm just trying to give you the examples how it's happening, because this act is not normal. What they're trying to do is not normal. Certainly the owner of the house is not involved. You can see my gates are always locked. The owner of the house is not involved, and I'm telling you, I'm residing there. I'm the owner for last 10 years. I'm residing there in the same house, and I don't condone such activities. I am not into that. Metaphor games, I totally call it demonic. Metaphor games mafia is a demonic mafia. It's a witchcraft mafia, folks. I tell you. And I warn you of the dire consequences. If you're still playing it, better come out of it. Better come out of it. It's a demonic game. It's a witchcraft game. Because if somebody's trying to say, I can tell you what is hidden, and they say they are the oracle, I would ask them to predict next 10 earthquakes, the major earthquakes, so they can save humanity. I openly challenge these demonic people, these metaphor games people. And if the leadership is involved, they are also the demonic leadership. If they have such predictions, they know things ahead of time. I will ask them to circulate 10 next major earthquakes which are going to occur, and where they're going to occur, and how many people around how many people will be killed. So people can be saved, the humanity can be saved. But not the metaphor games mafia, which is basically trying to assault female, these trick games, trick or treat sort of thing. This is a demonic witchcraft. And I see this, I've been noticing this around in my town, and I've been telling on my post, I've been telling on my videos, but somehow everybody's ignoring it, because many of them, 80%, 90% are part and parcel of this game. Because everybody's getting some or the other free delivery, or they're trying to entice someone, or somehow it's basically telling them, tricking or scamming the people around that, oh, everybody's doing it. Only pedophiles and predators are playing it. It's a human trafficking empire, metaphor games mafia invention, folks, and it's a pure demonic witchcraft thing, pure witchcraft and demonic. You call it a governmental witchcraft, you call it, pedophiles witchcraft, which I've already given a brief in my last video posting from very, very revered Professor Nottage. You look at her videos, she has been telling this. It's a big thing going around in the world now. Somehow after the COVID, coronavirus, COVID-19, people's minds have changed, and it seems like their virus is playing some game inside their brain, because all these metaphor games have come recently in a grand scale. That means their brain are infected with the virus issue, because something has changed in their mindset, which has gone into degradation, morally degraded, morally pervert, more pervert. And these pedophiles are taking complete advantage of this situation. And I want to just give you this warning that this metaphor games mafia is a pure demonic mafia. It's a pure witchcraft mafia. Stay away from them. These people are to be ignored at all times. You can see my gate always locked. Even then, I knowing it, noticing it, then I warn that you leave my property. It's a private property. I don't want anybody of you inside over here. Because there's a small bypass road which is like maybe a feet or 2 feet wide, where they somehow pass. It's a public road. If you can call it that, small bypass, pavement. People can stand there, or for a walking, but not do things like what they were doing there. They were entering inside my property, and I saw them, and I told them, you leave. So this is the metaphor games, folks. I want to just leave you here now with this, given enough examples how this small city of SAS Nagar Mohali phase 3B2 is developed into this daily game of metaphor games. And I call it, because what I see it, I call it, I'm not confirmed from other, but this is what you can see. What I am seeing, you can also see. And this is where you will come to know this is not normal thing. And this is something which is going on as a big gameplay. And it is always and always and always around my house. And there is some reason, because I know of my contributions to the world community over the facts, over the things which are right and righteous. These people are trying to somehow have the imposters do their agenda. So this is something which I just want to give you the brief on the grand scale gameplay. It is the demonic influence to ensnare large masses of people with cognitive dissonance. And these imposters and impersonators are in my neighborhood, around my neighborhood, and they're playing these games. They're trying to entice people that no, this is the reality, whereas it's not. They have the other reality they want to show you, and which is totally something which I don't agree to, because I know what the game is being played here. So folks, leaving you with that, and I hope you have a look at it and take understanding that always avoid metaphor games mafia. It's a demonic, pure evil, witchcraft thing, and we got to see how the world is going to behave with catastrophic climate events which are going to come. No metaphor games going to save the coming climate catastrophe, okay, unless we take the real actions, not metaphor games. Okay, maybe India is good at metaphor games, but you saw what was India playing in Olympics Tokyo. You saw the India was placed at 64 ranking. So that's the real effect, folks. It's not a metaphor game you play in Olympics. You don't get Olympics gold medals for playing metaphor games. You ask those people who got the medals, gold medals. Even India got one gold medal. In fact, India claims India is the only nation that has won gold medal in javelin throw. Yes, India claims it's the only nation in the whole world. So folks, 1.4 billion people and one gold medal, you can understand what is the productivity of the people around here. If metaphor games or sexual predations or pedophiles teamwork, then you understand what's the future of the nation. It's just something where I'm just trying to give you the hints what's coming up ahead of time. And I have already predicted, we're going to see some major, last girl which was lost for some time in Australia, covered and was found captive in a house. And I already predicted and told them she'll be fine, she's fine, there's no issue with that. She's so intelligent, Clara. And so we know that little girl was safe, and keep telling them. So this is where you help people, you don't take the benefits out of your knowledge or your understanding or sixth sense or what you have, call a remote viewing, you give humanity the benefit, the advantage. So folks, leaving you with this part that I'm going to sign off on November 8th at about 11 hours UTC for November 8th, 2021. And I'm going to leave you with this clip. Enjoy metaphor games watching. I always be a good suspected is trying to avoid. All of my gates are locked over here. Ever since I've lived here, I don't interact much with people because I keep telling folks in India it's very strange. 8 out of every 10 India population is downright corrupt, mostly morally, ethically bankrupt, pathological liars. Yeah, pathological liars. Lying here is taken as very common thing. I don't know why people don't get it. Lying is the biggest crime towards doing with your self-introspection or your humanity. So the grace of the humanity requires that you be truthful. When you be truthful, you can always have your body, spirits, mind stronger. But if you're not truthful, you are basically weakening the bond, or your own self-DNA is in self-destruct. I am going to have a bigger chapter on this, complete discourse, how, just basic things we do daily. If we do it wrong, then it's basically going to impact ourselves. Our whole body is linked to our mind or our thinking. Our whole thinking is linked to what our consciousness is from our deep within self, and what our self is basically is manifested by the altercation or the alterations of the DNA. Our DNA is responding. It's live DNA. It's not a dead DNA, folks. Our DNA is responding to what you're doing daily and what you've done in past. DNA is a product of that. So in time to come, I'm just predicting that the science will go so advanced where they'll be able to extract many information from DNA alone. take a DNA, it's like a snapshot, and you come to know what is the history, the past of that person. How truthful, how, spiritual, religious, whatever, how academic, how other things are there in that person, just by the DNA. So that genome sequence will give you that information one day, okay? That is where we are to reach. But humanity is not ready at this level. Extraterrestrials, the ETs know it, and they can do it within a snap. You will be laughing, how do I know that? So, well, some things are hidden, folks, okay? It's better hidden, it's better not to be divulged. So they know it. Within a snap, they come to know. The meeting a person, they come to know what that person is all about. Whether it's a truthful, whether it's a disciplined person, whether it's a pedophile, whether it's, having all these traits in them, within a second of time, they come to know. And that's what they have. And that's what we're going to have. That's our goal in time to come. And scientific community will progress to that level, which is coming up. It's not far off now. We have done a lot of progress. And I also keep repeating the climate catastrophic events are to be avoided because they are basically occurring all across. You see the snaps I've shared, the videos I've shared so far, and there's even a good message from Queen Elizabeth recently, who were emphasizing again on this climate crisis. She didn't join for some reason COP26. Obviously, I can understand why, but I'm not going to divulge. So this climate catastrophic events, which we'll see very soon, it's a result of human interaction or human degradation of planet Earth. You can see this is the view graph for November 8th at about 10 hours UTC. I've got this various viewpoints of reporting PM, parts per million 2.5, which was exceedingly 208, and even I saw it like about 300 PM 2.5, which is incredible, folks. You see this India, the subcontinent, the whole India itself is with a blanket of PM 2.5, exclusively high, very lethal. And this is where we got to see how the climate catastrophic events will come up. And it's mixed with air pollution, COVID-19 and all other things which are going around. You don't expect something normal, folks. And you will see very soon how it's going to interact. Okay, well, I will leave you to this clipping how I keep myself always locked in this situation over here. Not even the lockdown, but you can see this clipping of about a few months back, September 5th. And I was just trying to give the indication that, always I keep myself, the door locks, the gate locks, the house locked. I live by myself. And you can see over here, even for 5 minutes if I go out or come back, always keep it locked. Because the metaphor game people here, they're very inconspicuous. They'll observe you, they'll monitor everything, what you're doing, what you're not doing. And specifically, I see them focused mostly as a targeted individual. So I see them very often. And the various metaphor games people, they are playing here in the neighborhood, specifically it's very popular here in phase 3 to 2 SAS Nagar Mohali for past many months. Many pedophiles, imposters, impersonators are active in this metaphor Games Mafia. And it's a complete mafia working at the background. And they are trying to basically intimidate you by many reasons. Okay, folks, I take you leave here.